She was Star Trek's leading lady, but while Captain Kirk explored strange new worlds, Grace Whitney fell into a black hole of drug and sex addiction.
I had to admit I was powerless over alcohol and drugs, and my life was unmanageable by me.
Today, the incredible journey of Star Trek's Amazing Grace.
Star Trek is one of the most successful productions to ever come out of Hollywood. And for most of the original cast members, the series was a space odyssey to wealth and stardom. But as Elisa White reports, for one of them, it was the beginning of another kind of journey, a nightmare saga through the final frontier of despair.
Nancy, Grace Lee Whitney came to Hollywood in the 1950s to be a star. The singer and actress wanted to make her mark and end up here on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 1966, she got her chance when she landed a role on the new science fiction series, Star Trek.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
Yeoman Janice Rand, Captain James T. Kirk's right hand, and perhaps more importantly, she was supposed to be Kirk's love interest.
He was in love with the ship, and I was in love with him. And she was always trying to get him to look at her.
Early in her career, Grace was seen with famous faces like Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, Jimmy Durante, and Groucho Marx. And she worked with some of the best, like Marilyn Monroe in the movie Some Like It Hot.
Anyone for salami? But you know, she was drinking a lot when we were doing Some Like It Hot. We were all drinking a lot.
Grace liked to party. Sometimes she didn't even know when to stop. Even when she landed the Star Trek role, she was boozing, and she believed nobody knew it.
My face was bloated, and that's what happens to the alcoholic as he drinks, or she drinks. We get bloated, and I could see that. But as far as my performance is concerned, I don't think it affected it.
I'm sick. So upset.
Grace tried to lose the extra weight, but she got hooked on diet pills. The combination of the amphetamine-like drug and alcohol was too much to handle. Grace ended up having 2 drunken sexual encounters, one with a member of the Star Trek crew and the other with a network executive she refuses to name.
He raped you?
Tried to.
A network executive?
He couldn't. And because he couldn't, he was furious. It got violent, and I'm very fortunate to have gotten out of his office.
But where is everybody?
Not long after that, something even more devastating happened to Grace. After only 13 episodes on the show, she was fired, written out of the Star Trek series.
No! Right after the show, I tried to kill myself. I tried to drink myself to death.
William Shatner, series star Captain Kirk, writes about Yeoman Rand's fall from grace in his new book, Star Trek Memories. He says the show's executives knew about Grace's substance abuse. He also says her performance suffered terribly. He goes on to write that her condition worsened to the point where her scenes were given to others.
I was sad about it. She's a fabulous person.
Leonard Nimoy couldn't believe Grace was fired from the show. He had no idea she had a drinking problem. Nimoy, of course, played Mr. Spock in the series. He thought Grace was released because her Yeoman Rand character interfered with Kirk's ability to have other love interests.
We were all struggling to try to figure out how to do the show, and we were not a hit. We were all struggling for survival for the show, and suddenly there was a casualty, and I was sorry about it.
Grace's being written out of the show destroyed her ego, made her feel worthless. Her marriage failed, and now with 2 small sons, she tried to drink her pain away.
My teeth were falling out. They were loose, bleeding. I was losing clumps of hair. This is in 1970.
That was enough to make Grace stop drinking for nearly 8 years. She was dry, but she switched addictions. She ended up smoking marijuana. Gene Roddenberry, the creator of the Star Trek series, invited Grace to appear in Star Trek: The Motion Picture. James Doohan played Scotty in the movie and series. The Enterprise's chief engineer thought early on Grace got a bum deal.
I just saw no reason for it at all, and to me the rumor was at that time that
that Bill Shatner wanted to have his character see more of alien ladies and all this sort of stuff, you know. And who knows what really happened.
The movie gave Grace a second chance, but after watching the film, she says she looked too thin. That performance led her back to the bottle. Grace was leading a double life. By day, she was a nice, quiet mother of two in the suburbs, and at night, dramatically different. Grace would abandon her clean-cut image and come here to a seedy part of downtown Los Angeles. This is where she would drink herself under the table night after night. Grace's second marriage failed, and she soon became addicted to sex. She got personally involved with a slimy talent agent who was mixed up with pornography.
I prostituted myself. Okay? Does that sound a little... Maybe I was his mistress. I don't know. All I know is that I had to do sexual favors for this man whom I loathed.
In April of 1981, Grace finally got the help she so desperately needed. She joined a recovery program.
I had to admit I was powerless over alcohol and drugs, and my life was unmanageable by me. Here are the major heavy-duty Klingons, all the bad guys.
Grace hasn't had a drink in more than 12 years. Now she spends her days near Yosemite Valley, California. She's closer to her two grown sons and her granddaughter.
You can find God, and you can find joy, even in prison.
As painful as her life was, Grace isn't willing to stay quiet about it. Each week she visits the Chowchilla Women's Prison. Here, Grace tells inmates her story of recovery. Grace has also found a new hobby, square dancing. Stardom has eluded 63-year-old Grace Lee Whitney. The Star Trek series made her former co-workers rich and famous. The science fiction show took off like a rocket when it went into syndication. Now there are spin-offs like Deep Space Nine and a huge cult following known as Trekkies. Had she not been fired, how different life would be.
She's a cheerleader. She's a support friend. She's in another place or time, she'd be Mother Teresa.
Just lovely, and the fans love her. They adore her.
It's just an extraordinary existence. From all that fame and fortune and everything, to come down to the very dregs and to find such peace down at the bottom. Isn't that an amazing thing?
And Grace Lee Whitney's story may come full circle. There are plans to cast her in a future episode of Deep Space Nine. As Spock would say, live long and prosper. More for you on American Journal when we come back.